This is going to be my very first devlog video ever, really. This is a game that I've been working on kind of as a solo project on the side while I'm going to school. It doesn't really have a title yet. My main goal when making this game was to create something that I wanted to play, and so far I enjoy playing it. I took inspiration from some of my favorite games, which are Gauntlet Legends, Diablo, there's some Guild Wars inspiration in here, and some Slay the Spire inspiration as well. I like to think of it as like a roguelike dungeon crawler. So I guess in that way it would also be kind of similar to Hero Siege. Basically you crawl through this dungeon. This is the entire dungeon. And while I'm at it, let me go ahead and change these. But that's the whole dungeon. You basically explore the dungeon. During the process, you kill these dens, which are basically monster generators. Very similar to Gauntlet Legends, sorry. And then you unlock rooms, battle bosses, collect relics, and then do it all over again with increased difficulty when the level restarts. So I'll give it a brief playthrough here. Just kind of show you some of the core mechanics. So you've got a little panel here that just kind of gives you in-game messages as you progress through the dungeon. So the player has a bow. There's an ammunition count right here. Throughout the game you can collect items that will increase your maximum arrow count. This is an arrow bench. It's basically how you get your arrows back. This and the silver chests will give you arrows back when you stand on them or activate them. So let's see, let's start with stats. You've got strength, charisma, vitality, dexterity, wisdom, and spirit. Strength is going to give additional damage on top of all your attacks. Dexterity is the rate which you fire, increases the rate which you fire, rather. Wisdom will give you maximum energy. Vitality will give you maximum health. Spirit is the rate at which you regenerate energy and health. And then charisma is going to make buying and selling more effective, but it's not in the game yet, so it's kind of a wasted stat for now. The skill tree is very similar to Diablo. You hover over a skill and then this little menu to the right will show you everything about it, basically. The damage, what level it is, how much it costs to use, and then a brief description, as well as the name of the skill. So, get a few levels here. This is my test level up button. Some points in spirit. All my points in spirit, actually. And I'll show you some of the beginning abilities. This little prompt will let you know when you have points to assign. So once you have skills, slotting is done through these boxes down here. You click on one, and then click on a skill, and then it slots that. So on and so forth. So to actually use the skill, it's a right click, but you cannot use a skill unless you have one actually selected. So to select a skill, you press 1, 2, 3, or 4 based on which number box, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then that'll set it as your active ability. And then when you press the right click, it will use that ability. You can shoot behind you by holding down shift. Let's see, what else? Get some more arrows back. And let's just go progress through the game. When you set fire to an enemy, they'll get that little burning, the little flames on them, just to let you know. They're on fire, as well as the damage text, which is going to definitely be updated, don't worry. This is the Fog of War mechanic. This is an arrow chest. It will give you a random number of arrows between 10 to 20. And I'm just gonna fly through this as fast as I can, kill all the dens as fast as I can. Yeah, so when an enemy walks up to you, they'll start their attack animation, and then you'll start taking damage. I have a whole lot of spirits, so they can't really damage me. It's not really a balanced mechanic yet, but these red blocks indicate block passageways. When you run into them, it says the way's blocked, which lets the player know that they need to find something to open it. This is the quiver chest. It increases your max ammo. So now you see my max ammo is 28 instead of 24. When the player hears the crumbling wall mechanic, that means one of the block passages is now open. And then you kill this guy, which is the first boss. So once he dies, the player hears the crumbling wall mechanic again, which lets them know that another passageway is open. They can go up this way. And kill the orc den if they want to. I'm not going to do that though, since this is just a quick run through. And you'll notice some bugs, like when enemies stack on each other, sometimes they won't move. All that'll get fixed eventually. Oh, I don't think I did actually explain. This bar here is your experience bar. It relates directly to your XP. So as you get XP, that'll fill up health, mana, which makes it so you don't have to open your experience bar every, second, basically. See how far along you are to the next level. Another room to explore. This is just a room with 2 dens in it, so I'm not going to kill them, but just to show you. Alright, so player goes down here. Now, normally there's a blocked passageway here, but since he killed the first boss, it's opened. I have these not set to follow right now, just for testing purposes. This is a relic chest, so once you open this, you get a relic. The player can carry 4 relics at a time. They'll appear down here. When you go up to it, it's locked, so the player knows that, or well, will eventually figure out when the giant boss is chasing them that they need to kill the boss. And then it'll open. There's a bug right now where you can fire a regular arrow and a special arrow at the same time. That'll probably get fixed eventually. It's just not a priority right now. I'm going to abuse it in order to get past this. And I have no more arrows. Awesome. Oh, flask. Okay, so cool mechanics. Arcane arrow doesn't use ammunition, so even if you don't have ammo, you can cast it. Flasks also don't use ammunition, so you can cast them without ammo, but I don't think, looks like the damage isn't scripted for the boss on the flask. Alright, so now that he's dead, I can open the chest. Nice little tune, get my first relic, which is a green gem. Each gem will increase your stats by 10 for whichever stat it's for. So green is dexterity, red is strength, blue is wisdom, gray is vitality, white is spirit, and purple is charisma. Alright, so I have it scripted not to restart the level right now, but once you open the chest, level restarts, everything is its own level +1, and then you just go through the level again. So everything does more damage, has more health. I might make them faster, I'm not sure. But yeah, that is, in a nutshell, the game. And I will actually level up some more so I can show you some of the cooler abilities here. Okay, so there are passive abilities in the game, so Poison Barbs is currently the only one. It basically, this little circle around you, that's Poison Barbs. It'll damage enemies per second as they get close, as well as poison them. So it's a pretty handy little skill. You've got Trailblazer, which is a personal favorite. It makes you faster and then spawns fire behind you, which sets enemies on fire. It's really, really strong. Probably gonna get a nerf soon, to be honest. But when a buff pops, you can see the buff duration down here. And then you can stack buffs too. So there's another buff called Apply Poison, and it will set its duration. And it looks like there's a bug where it's setting both durations, but should be an easy fix. Let's see. There's Displacement Arrow, which is pretty cool. It's basically, it's kind of like a knockback arrow, but it teleports them kind of in an arc. So kind of like a 90-degree arc outward from where the arrow strikes. There's Firewall Arrow, which is a personal favorite. It's kind of like Trailblazer, but oh, this is not working. It's odd. Huh? It's a bug to fix. There's Meteor Arrow, which is fun. It's pretty much what it sounds like. When it hits a target, there's a delay and then it spawns a meteor explosion. Which catches enemies on fire. It's a fun skill. Let's see. This one is really, really fun. Blight Flask is the only skill that gives you a disease mechanic, which is, it slows enemies and does really, really light damage, but it also spreads. Okay, there's a bug. There's the bug that I was hoping we wouldn't run into, but it'll get a fix soon. So basically, disease will slow enemies by 20%, I believe, and then it does 1 damage per second, which is pretty light, especially once you start getting on into the later stage, but it spreads between enemies, so it's a good way to like slow down a big group of enemies. Yeah, that'll be pretty much it. I think I went over most of the mechanics, at least most of the core mechanics. Thanks for watching.